Well, this is Rocky Williams, and I'm in my Hortaqua. My son Wes wanted me to do another video and kind of explain some of the things maybe a little bit more in detail uh, than the first video. I just did kind of an overview of things, and we're right now. And one thing I wanted to kind of talk about is the way nature has evolved in balancing this system out, and how you create an artificial environment, and this is all a big experiment. You try different things, and everybody has a different way of doing things, and different things, and through observation you basically, that's how you're learning. You're learning through the observation of when you do things, and no matter what kind of plan you have and what you think is going to happen, everything, maybe it doesn't happen just exactly the way you think it's going to. This one thing that I've learned from this deal is that this aeration that is constantly being put in the water and aerating, basically I did it just to get that dissolved oxygen in the water, and for the fish and living organisms that use it. But what I'm finding out is that because I'm constantly pumping atmospheric nitrogen and hydrogen and carbon dioxide in the water, that a life evolves around available food that's available, that resource. Nature is going to take what resources it has and try to balance out the system. So that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing that the nitrogen and the atmospheric nitrogen is creating whatever's in there, taking advantage of the atmospheric nitrogen that is growing and is actually turning in. That's talking about that algae. Let me see, I can't get this kale. Let me see if I can pull some of this out. The algae out here. But this, let me see here. This algae and duckweed. See this algae? It is taking advantage of the nutrition, the atmospheric oxygen and the nutrition that is coming from this aeration, and growing and producing a substance. It's fertilizer. And then you have your fish and fish waste in there, that it's also utilizing that nutrition from everything that's growing in here. Your snails, and I've got minnows, catfish, and everything. It's ecosystem, but it's taking the atmospheric oxygen and producing a substance, a physical substance, and that I'll take this out. Let's see. I'll lay it down right out here and dry it, and then use that, what has been taken from the atmosphere that's created this physical substance, this algae and duckweed. I dry it and then put it back into the system, into these plants, and the plants then utilize that. Well, I'm not having to buy. I bought, when I initially started this stuff, I bought, or I feed organic for chicken feed and stuff to my worms and things. But it's taken me 2.5 years to get to a point that this system is fairly self-sustainable. And basically, that's what we're trying to achieve. We're trying to achieve self-sustainability, we're in a situation that, we don't know. There may be a economic collapse. Everybody keeps talking that kind of stuff. I don't want to really go there, but I just want to try to get something going where I can feed my family sustainably. And this is what this is all about. And I'm learning as I go. It's just a big experiment. Right now I'm in the middle. Most of my winter stuff I've taken out, and I'm started, composting stuff down, like the broccoli and cauliflower and things. I'm composting it back, turned it back into the soil. You see I've got this chunks of broccoli here that I've buried down into the soil, and and it's all working. Well, look at these little roly-poly bugs. Great composters. Everybody, they are fantastic. And so we can see the earthworms in there. It all was a process of breaking that stuff down into feeding the next life cycle. The summer plants that we're doing. I'm starting putting in tomatoes and planting seeds and squash, but I've composted this in and fed it back into the beds so that when I get ready to plant my summer stuff, this will all be ready to plant. And I've utilized that atmospheric nitrogen and carbon dioxide and hydrogen and all the other things that are in our own atmosphere, turned it into plant food. And I think that's a really good point that I need to get across. Here I've got these starter plants. I'm starting my summer stuff. I got some tomatoes started here. I've got tomatoes in the back, and getting my beds all worked up and composting, getting it all worked up, composted for my summer stuff. I'm still not really have it in a rotating cycle like I'd like it. Right now, I've got kale and Swiss chard that I'm going to be eating on for the next 60 days before I start getting any other stuff to eat. So this is a part of the time having to figure out how my rotation is going, and that this is all a learning process. And anybody that tries something like this, you're going to do it the way you want to do it and the way you think that it will work, and you do that, and you work towards that, and then it will evolve from that. There's a lot of things that my circulation system, my tank is outside, and we got a 7-inch rain, and the float stuck up, and it pumped the water out, and it floated in my circulating tank, so I'm not circulating water in here. Hadn't circulated water in here for 2 months, and everything's doing fine. And that's something I'm learning, is that you have to just work with what you have and what's happening, and listen and look and learn from what the environment is. My soil is nice and moist. It's not too wet or too damp, but I don't have any water circulating under these beds right now. I don't have water circulating to clean out the waste in these floating beds, but the algae and the duckweed and the plants are doing just fine in processing that out. I've got a friend that's going to send me some Japanese snails, aquatic snails that live on the bottom, and help process this waste out. So we're all trying to achieve permaculture, I guess you could say. That's a term. Permaculture, permanent agriculture that's sustainable. And so if we can get it sustainable without having to actually buying stuff to add into it. You do that every once in a while. You buy amendments that you think you need and so forth. But I'm working towards that goal. And this is one thing that I'm noticing that I just wanted to make this video, is that utilizing this atmospheric air that nature has created a living system that's feeding off of it. All right, well, that's all I'm going to have for today. All right, bye.